How do we know which one's a maple tree?
You tell me.
Well, if I had to guess, I'm not guessing. This one is.
How do you pick your tree?
Well, first of all, I'm only tapping maple trees right now. I will be tapping birch, but the birch don't run until mid-April or so, or maybe late April of this year because it's been so cold. Typically, I think the maples would probably have already been done. Like last year at this time, we didn't have any snow. The grass is already turning green. So maples, you want to wait. First you have to identify the maples, and then and we don't have many of them here on this property. And then you have to wait until it gets warm enough. Typically, that means over freezing during the day, above freezing during the day, and then below freezing again at night. That cycle is what triggers the tree. That warm-cold cycle triggers the tree to start running the sap. So it starts coming back to life. You can see all the buds at the very top there that are starting out despite the cold, that will turn into leaves here in not too long. And then I forget the actual numbers. I'm just sort of guesstimating, but the size of the tree. So, you know, we could put multiple taps around the base of the tree, and frankly, that may be the proper thing to do. I don't know. I was going to tap each one of these individually. There's 4 of them on this tree, but these aren't that big around. You could probably do 2. I'm probably just going to do 1 per. But if you get a really, you know, big tree, you can probably do, you know, 3, 4 taps all the way around it. We could probably do, if we were doing that here, we could probably do that all the way around the base, but I'm just doing these. All right, so we have our 5/16 tubing. We have our 5/16 spiles or taps. We have a dog eating leaves. We have our drill and our 5/16 bit. I remembered to charge it, so that's good. We have our trusty hammer. And we have another drill bit to drill holes in the bucket. That's all we need. Right, Circle? The upside is, when you're doing this, you can reuse these lids. If we do this again and say maybe we only need 1 hole in the lid or whatever, we'll just put a piece of tape over that hole so we don't have to buy new lids. We can just reuse it. All right. Might as well do the next one. The next one's going to have 3. Not a super healthy tree, it doesn't look like, but it's alive. So we'll put 2 taps into it. That's why they call it tapping a tree. Tap, tap, tap. I'm going to connect to my 1/2 of my Y. Connect to the other 1/2 of my Y. And we can run 1 down into the bucket. Connect to the bottom of our Y. And this, right into our bucket. Just like that. Done. Once it warms up, we'll have some sap. Okay, so equipment rundown, equipment and materials. We have our 5/16 hose that I got off Amazon. We'll put links for all this. I got this off Amazon. It's actually made for maple syrup. I don't know that it really matters outside of it being food grade. I do have all of our buckets that I picked up. It's important. We're using buckets you can buy all kinds of different things. You can use steel buckets and whatnot. I'm using 5-gallon pails because I don't want to be running out here in the woods to be checking it all the time, and I don't want to overflow. But make sure whatever you're using is food safe. So don't just use a regular 5-gallon bucket. Make sure it's food safe, that it hasn't had anything in it like oil or whatever, that like motor oil, something like that. And then we've got a drill. I just went through, I got a bunch of these from Harbor Freight. They're really inexpensive. And I've burned through quite a few of them, but I was pretty rough on drills for a while, so I didn't want to ruin a bunch of good drills. These work great. Got it at Harbor Freight. I actually got this bit. I just needed a good, clean, new 5/16 bit, so I actually bought that online as well. I'll put a link to that. This is a shark bite tube cutter because we put in heated floors in the house, and instead of trying to sit and cut the stuff with a razor blade out here, I just find this is a lot easier. So that's what I use to cut PEX tubing. Gotta have a hammer. I'm not sure what size bit this is. I don't think my eyes will work well enough. Anyway, I sized this for the hole I drilled in the bucket for the tube. I just pulled this out of my kit of drill bits. And then the spiles, these are called spiles. You tap that end into the tree. It's tapered downward. And then this edge, that side rather, has the connection for the tube. That's what you can hook your tube up to. And what I was mentioning earlier, if you're doing this out in the cold like I am, good idea to bring a lighter with you so you can warm up the tube a little bit and it'll go on there a lot easier. Otherwise, like I'm fighting it today because it's so cold. And I think that's it for equipment and supplies.